And we are back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are now going to do a season overview on the New England Patriots. We'll talk about their offseason as well. I like what they did on the defensive side of the ball, but they definitely need to, add more to the offense. So the Patriots, the 2023 or 2023, well, 2023 was forgettable, but 2024 was also kind of a forgettable year as well. Um, there's definitely some more optimism. Well, there's a lot more optimism going into 2025 because the Patriots, I think, found their quarterback in Drake May. He didn't start right away because they didn't want him to start behind that offensive line. So they ended up throwing Jacoby Brissett to the Wolves. Now, to be fair, though, the Patriots did end up winning their first game of the year. Yeah, that's right. To the Cincinnati Bengals, who just paid their two receivers a lot of money. We talked about that yesterday. But yeah, they went into Cincy. They beat the Bengals 16-10. The biggest play of the game, there was a fumble by Tanner Hudson. Because the Bengals were going to go down and score. But Kyle Duggar ended up making a nice play on that, forcing the ball out. So that, led to the Patriots leading 10-0 after the first half. And, the Bengals didn't score till, late into the third quarter. But, yeah, Patriots ended up getting the win. You're like, wow, Patriots, nice. But then they proceeded to lose their next 6 games. They lost in overtime to the Seahawks. So the first couple weeks, you're like, wow, they've been, competitive in both these games. They could have very easily been 2-0. But then there was that Thursday night against the Jets, which we will talk about that from the Jets' perspective tomorrow when we go over their season. And that's probably one of the more anticipated season overviews that I've done so far. But yeah, from the Patriots' perspective, I mean, the Jets were that defense was just all over Jacoby Brissett. The Patriots could not get anything going. Ramondre Stevenson in that game, he had less than a point when it came to fantasy. He only had 6 carries for 23 yards. Because I was saying, well, the Jets are susceptible against the run. Patriots should be able to run the football. No, they were not able to run the football. And they ended up losing 24-3. Then against the 49ers, things didn't get any better. Fred Warner had that pick 6 in that game. So they lose that. They go to 1-3. Then they lose to the Dolphins. That was with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. They ended up winning against them. That was a game I thought the Patriots could win. And then this is where Drake May stepped in, week 6 against the Texans. Probably was not the best game to start him in. Now, he did make some good plays. He had but he had 3 touchdown passes in the game, did throw a couple of interceptions. But you were encouraged by what you saw in his debut. And how many times was he sacked in his debut? Because Texans defense is pretty good. He was sacked 4 times. And then they played against the Jaguars. Jaguars ended up winning 32-16 in that game. That was one of the international games. But then they ended up picking up the win against the Jets. Drake May ended up leaving the game early with a concussion. So Jacoby Brissett stepped in, and the Patriots ended up winning that game at the end. The offense went right down the field. Jets went up 22-17, and they let the Jets defense let the Patriots go right down the field and score a touchdown with no time left. Ramondre Stevenson scored a touchdown to make it 25 or 24-22. Or actually, no, they got the 2-point conversion. So they made it 23-22, and then they went for 2 and got it. So that made him 2-6 at that point. Then they lost to the Titans in overtime the following week. Drake May had that insane touchdown pass where he was scrambling around, and he threw it to Ramondre Stevenson with no time left to tie the game, but they ended up losing. Then they beat the Bears 19-3. That was an ugly game for the Bears. They lost to the Patriots, or they lost to the Rams. They lost to the Dolphins, again, with Tua being back. They lost by 1 to the Colts. Anthony Richardson threw a touchdown at the end there. Then they went into their bye. They lose to the Cardinals. They lost to the Bills. They actually were up by 14 points. They were up 14-0, but the Bills came back, won that game. But then they got blown out at home by the Chargers, 40-7. And I was close to taking the Patriots with the points in that game. Thankfully, I didn't, because otherwise I would have went 0-3 in that NFL Network triple header, which I have not done well with since they started doing that. And then you had Joe Milton, final game of the season. He could be someone that could get traded. He kind of impressed in that game against the Bills backups. 22 of 29 for 241 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But yeah, Patriots finished 4-13, last place in the AFC East. But I do think they will finish with more wins in 2025. I do believe that. They've been busy in the offseason. They brought in Mike Vrabel to be their next head coach. Yes, he's a better head coach than Gerard Mayo, but I don't like how what they did to Gerard Mayo. He wasn't given a lot to be successful. And they should have given him another chance, but they wanted Vrabel. And so they brought him in. But they were busy this offseason. They also brought back Josh McDaniels as well. So I think, him and Drake May, I think that's going to work well. And, on defense, they brought in Harold Landry III from the Titans. He was cut by the Titans recently. They bring him in. He reunites with Vrabel. They bring in Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, and Milton Williams, who just won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. They did sign Morgan Moses, who was with the Jets last year, to upgrade at tackle. They really need to, fix this offensive line for Drake May. They got to protect him. They brought in Matt Collins, who had a nice year with the Bills last year. And, they're picking in the top 5. So, I think they're taking a receiver. I think they're either taking a receiver or they're taking an offensive lineman. They need to add more playmakers to this side of the ball for Drake May. Now, you got Hunter Henry, tight end. Ramondre Stevenson coming out of the backfield. But you got to improve the offensive line and, get some receivers for Drake May. And there's still receivers out there. Like, they could go out, maybe they sign Stephon Diggs or, you sign Keenan Allen or something. Well, Keenan Allen wants to go to one of two places. But there's a lot they could do. But they spent a lot of money this offseason. And you look at last year, their defense ranked 22nd in total yards per game, 22nd in points allowed per game, and they were 10th in passing allowed and 23rd in stopping the run. So, and you added Carlton Davis to the secondary opposite of Christian Gonzalez, who's a good young player for them. So, the defense, had some issues, but they revamped it. The offense is really the bigger problem. Their offensive line was 31st in pass blocking win rate and last in run blocking win rate. That's not good. They need to fix that. And, bringing in Morgan Moses will help. But looking at their offense, along with the offensive line, they were 32nd in passing yards per game. They were 13th in rushing yards per game. So that was, they did run the football well. Total yards per game, though, they were 31st. That's not good. Time of possession, they were 24th. Points again, well, that's the defensive stats. But yeah, offensively, they were towards the bottom. They have to improve that. And, Drake May, you look at his year, he finished with 15 touchdowns to 10 picks. Not the best touchdown to interception ratio, 2,200 yards passing. I think he's going to have a better year next year. Ramondre Stevenson ran the ball for 801 yards and 7 touchdowns. They gave him a big contract in the offseason. Actually, Drake May also ran the ball for 421 yards, too, and 2 touchdowns. So, can also be a little athletic, running the football as well. But, yeah, their leading receiver, though, was Hunter Henry. You got to improve on that. You got Demario Davis, Kashawn Booty, Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Polk, who only had 87 yards receiving in his rookie year. He did have 2 touchdowns, but there's not a lot of elite talent on the offensive side of the ball, and they have to try to build this up. And I think you go after, if Travis Hunter falls to you, that's someone you go after. Tetero and McMillan. I think that's where the Patriots could go, is playmaker, and then offensive line. Or maybe, like I said, or maybe they trade down and they draft an offensive lineman. Who knows? But I think the Patriots will win more than 4 games next year. I really do believe that. I don't think they're going to. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to compete for a playoff spot, but I do think that you could see them maybe get 6 wins. I think you could see that. Slowly but surely make improvements there. But, you got the Dolphins and the Bills. The Bills are, the class of the AFC East right now. And if the Dolphins have a healthy Tua, they're going to be a better team. But, if Tua gets hurt and misses some time, the Patriots could steal some wins there from the Dolphins, depending on how the schedule shakes out. If Tua gets hurt, which I don't want to see Tua get hurt. I don't think anybody wants to see that. But he misses time. That's what happens. And then the Jets, we'll see how they look with Justin Fields, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. So, but let me know what you guys think, though, about the Patriots season. Again, forgettable year for them. I think they're on their way back to being in the conversation in the AFC. At least when it comes to, being more competitive. Again, I still think maybe they're another year away, but who knows? I think they got a good head coach. I like the McDaniels move. They got the quarterback. The defense, I like the moves they made there. You just got to give Drake May more to work with now. So, that is pretty much it, though. With that is pretty much it for the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to check out all the other shows on the network. Make sure to subscribe to both YouTube channels. Make sure to check us out wherever you get your podcasts, so you can listen to us as well. We appreciate all the support as always. Make sure to leave a like and comment on my videos as well. I'll try to get to your comments. So, as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.